And I don't know if you know that shut the door sounds like je t'adore, which is French for I love you.
I love you.
It's me saying to her, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. And luckily, I tried my French to explain it.
As a young inspector, I always thought that my job was to protect public health as opposed to just enforce legislation. And enforcing the legislation at the time when we first started wasn't that good, to be honest. It wasn't that good for food safety. It was all about walls, floors, and ceilings. Didn't really have a lot to do with temperature control and the risk factors associated with food poisoning. So I would always give advice to people about what they should do to produce food safely and make it quite clear if it wasn't a legal requirement. So I went into the shop one day and they had 4 or 5 massive pork pies, pastry pork pies, above the refrigerator. And I said to him, look, I know it's not a legal requirement to put those pork pies in the refrigerator, but to be honest, you need to be putting them in the refrigerator to prevent any multiplication of any bacteria within the pork pie. And the gentleman never said anything to me. But when I got back into the office, the chief environmental health officer summoned me and said, Sprenger, what have you been doing? He said, have you seen the newspaper headlines? And I said, no. He said, well, you asked a gentleman, one of our managers at the delicatessen, to put his pork pies in the refrigerator. I said, yes, I know. I said, I know it's not a legal requirement, but it's good for food safety. He said, it would be normally, but those pork pies were full of sawdust and they were for display only. And now the local newspaper is saying vigorous enforcement officer requires wooden pork pies to be stored under refrigeration for safety. So, yeah, that didn't go down too well with some of my colleagues for quite a while. I had to live that one down. Yeah.
And I got hit on the head by a land snail once. They used to import land snails from Nigeria for food.
Yeah.
Airport. And the crate had opened, and these things have got out. And because they're tree snails, their instinct is to climb. So they climb up the walls onto the ceiling. And so I walked into the warehouse, not expecting to see anything, and the warehouse looked okay. And suddenly there was a noise, and it was like a swoosh. And it was one of these land snails that had gone up there. It got so cold that it lost its grip and fallen. And one fell on my head. The second one fell on my head. And that was another industrial injury. And you couldn't put down like land snail fell on the head. But there are a lot of strange things coming through the airports that used to.
Yeah. And I've seen those land snails. They're massive.
Massive. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I came back to home and I said to Rosemary, God, I've just been hit on the head by a snail. I'm half unconscious. And she was snail. You know, she's thinking like a little garden snail.
I remember we had a problem in one of the authorities that I worked for, that at certain times of the year, there was a considerable amount of illegal slaughtering going on. And, well, we were saying it was illegal. What was actually being done wasn't at the time illegal. But we had quite a lot of sheep heads and sheep entrails blocking drains and sheep heads found in the local wood and things like this. And we needed to get to the bottom of it. So I spoke to the local people. This was all to do with slaughtering animals for Eid. because basically the idea is that you would give a third of the meat away. You'd keep a third for yourself, and you'd use another third for, say, friends and so on. So basically, it wasn't being that the meat wasn't being, or the lambs weren't being slaughtered for their own for sale. That was the problem. And everybody said, well, there's no problem. It's only 1 or 2 sheep and things like this. So I went to discuss with the elders and said, look, I know there's slaughtering going on, but I don't think there's that much. But why don't you let our inspectors look at the meat? And they said, well, you'll prosecute us, you'll fine us. And I said, no, I said, because what you're doing by the sound of it doesn't contravene the law. And we need to make sure that the meat is fit for people to eat. That's the most important thing. So we agreed, and instead of slaughtering, and the slaughtering at that time, I'm going back a long time, it was in people's houses. It was slaughtering lambs, sheep in people's houses, and obviously not in the best conditions for either the animals or the hygiene. So we agreed that we would have garages completely equipped with slaughtering equipment, and we'd have trained slaughtermen doing the slaughtering. And I remember that I got a phone call at 11 o'clock at night by an irate councillor who was the leader of the council, and said that in his area where he lived, amongst a row of terraced houses, he'd just seen a person with 100 sheep going past his front door, and he went to confront this person and said, what are you doing? And the person said, I've got permission from the Environmental Health Department to take the sheep and slaughter them. To which I nearly got the sack like you did. But the moral of that story was nobody believed that there was so much slaughtering going on at the time. And as a result of that, later, the law was changed to make it illegal. So we actually achieved a satisfactory outcome for everybody. Sale of safe meat, or the production of safe meat, the end to the slaughtering practices, and yeah, a good outcome. But it was touch and go with regards to my job for allowing this to happen.
I almost got sacked once. I joined Marks and Spencer in the 90s, which I thought one of the best food organizations out there at the time. Terrific. And they used to send me around the world looking at standards in factories. When I went to France, and I always recognized with the French that if you spoke a bit of French to them, that they'd respond. But if you went there and just spoke English at them, they didn't like it. And so I got my schoolboy French and I tried to practice. And when I arrived there, I was speaking to the team, and I got things wrong. My French isn't very good, to be honest with you. And I didn't know if a table was a female or male table, and they used to laugh every now. But they took it in good heart. At least I was trying my very best. And I've done the risk assessment review, and it was going to look at factory standards. And this factory manager, she took me around the factory. It was a fantastic factory. The product, the patisseries were just amazing. And I thought, well, I'm going to make my career here at M&S. I'll go back and say, look at these wonderful products. Our customers will love them. Look at the wonderful standards they're made in. And so I was trying a bit of schoolboy French as I was going around, so she was understanding it. And at the very end, Richard, I was walking around the factory and the back door was open. And you know what it's like. You had a bit of dust blowing into the factory, and that's not good practice. So I got my board and I'm looking at this woman. I'm saying, no, shut the door. And carried on writing down, oh, I have to do this. And she just looked at me. And I thought, well, that's not an unreasonable thing to say. I can see dust blowing in the factory. So I said, shut the door. And she took a step back in horror. And I'm thinking, look, all I'm asking is for a door to be shut. And I said again, shut the door, shut the door. And by this time, she looked at me really strangely. So I reverted to my schoolboy French, fermez la porte, s'il vous plaît, mademoiselle. And she burst out laughing because what she thought when I was saying shut the door was that I was speaking French. And I don't know if you know that shut the door sounds like je t'adore, which is French for I love you.
I love you.
It's me saying to her, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. And luckily, I tried my French to explain it, or else I think I'd have got the sack for harassment. But you have to be very careful what you say to people, and if you try to be smart in a language, make sure you understand it before you use it.
That's great.